Did you know that according to a survey of college students in May of 2024, only 8% are using AI for research and financial aid? Let's change that today. I'm going to show you 10 tips for ChatGPT to get you started as a student that aren't cheating. Hi, I'm Aaron, or Mr. Makelky. I'm a real teacher who actually shows my students how to use AI to raise their grades and lower their stress without cheating. If your teachers or professors tell you that AI is cheating, you shouldn't use it, they'll bust you, Grammarly is wrong, it's a good thing you found my channel because I'm here to help you use AI to do better in school. First, make sure you have ChatGPT. You can get the app in your app store on Android or iPhone. If you're on a Mac, you can get it as a desktop app if you're a paid user. Otherwise, you can go to it in your web browser here. Make sure you're logged in and don't use your school email. If you have a personal Gmail or Microsoft account, those work great. But I wouldn't use one that's connected to your school. If you don't log in, you can still use ChatGPT, but it's not going to save your searches or any of your profile stuff, so you definitely want to log in. First tip is when you're prompting ChatGPT, you want to have a framework, and there are lots of them out there, but one that a lot of teachers use to teach writing is called RAFT, R-A-F-T. If you give the AI an aspect of this, the R stands for what role does it play? Is it an editor? Is it creative? Is it a college professor? Is it a peer? Is it a tutor? What is it? Act like that thing. Okay, now you have a role. The A stands for audience. Who are you going to make this for? Usually that's going to be yourself, an undergraduate student studying chemistry, or someone in AP European history class cramming for their final. Tell it R, role, A, audience. Who is this going to be for? The F is the format, and this is huge because if you don't tell it what format, it defaults to bulleted lists, and you may not want a bulleted list. You might say, I want paragraphs, I want an outline, I want a dialogue, I want a paper, I want a table or a chart. Tell it what you want the final product to look like with the F, that is the format. Finally, we have the T, and that's easy. What is this about? What's the topic? Maybe I'm studying for a final exam, and I have a study guide, and I want you to give me format, one question at a time, Q&A, and quiz me on these topics and vocab words from my study guide. But you're a science professor who teaches undergraduate biology. Your audience is one of your students who's trying to prep for the final exam. The format is one question at a time, Q&A session, and then I want you to take this topic, molecular biology or whatever section it is. If you can upload that, scan it in, or even take a picture on your phone, go to your camera roll. And with OCR, you can just press on the text on your image in the camera roll and copy and paste. Our second tip is a simple one, but no one tells you this, at least not in school. Give it guardrails in the prompt. In other words, RAFT is telling it all the information you want. This role, this audience, this framework, and this topic. But guardrails mean don't do this or avoid these things. So for example, you could say, don't use words that an 8th grader wouldn't understand. Or you could say, don't use colons. ChatGPT loves to use colons as a default. One I use all the time is don't give me a bulleted list. So maybe you don't care that much about the format, but you don't want it to be a bulleted list. Give it that. If you see it's using words repetitively, you can tell it, don't repeat the same adjectives. Guardrails help narrow down what you're asking it to do so it can do a better job. Use that in your prompting. Third tip for you, prompting is huge, so here's a final thing to put in your prompt. Ask ChatGPT, what else would you need from me to give the best answer possible? Instead of saying, here's the task, RAFT, guardrails, go, you can say, RAFT, guardrails, what else would you need to know? It's going to give you some feedback on maybe add this, be more specific, more context, etc. Just answer whatever it gives you and then say, now generate the output. The fourth tip is make sure you check what model you're on. This is changing all the time. In fact, when I wrote the script for this YouTube video 3 days ago, I took a screenshot of the models. Yesterday, ChatGPT came out with a new one that affects everybody on the free plan. So like 90% of people have different models now than they had 2 or 3 days ago. This is in July of 2024. So make sure you go up here in your settings and click on the model and make sure you have the right one for your use case. If you pay for ChatGPT like I do, you're always going to have more options. But even if you're on the free version, there's usually 2 or 3 you can pick from. So check which one you're on. As of time of recording, 4.0 mini is the default model you're going to use. Our next tip is you can do a temporary chat. What that means is, even though you're logged in, Chat GPT isn't going to save this conversation for later. For privacy reasons, or if it's like a sketchy topic, or you don't want any record of what you're asking it, you might want to use temporary chat. Or if it's something personal and you don't really trust that they're not training the model on your data, here's how you go to this in the menu. Enable temporary chat. You just won't be able to find it later the next time you come back to your window. Which is a great bridge to tip number 6. What about my privacy? What is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, doing with this information that I'm putting in and getting out? If you don't want to train the model on your data, you can go to your settings, go to privacy, and you can uncheck share data with OpenAI. That way, what you're putting in isn't being saved and used to train their models. If you're uploading anything that's confidential or specific to you or your classes or your work, you probably want to enable this feature. If you want more detailed explanations, how can I use ChatGPT to write better essays for my classes? Check the link in the description below. I have a whole video where I walk you through the process from brainstorming to feedback. Ways you can use ChatGPT that no professor, no AI detector is going to get you busted because it's not cheating and you should be using it. Check that out. You can just put in your email and I'll send you the video. All right, let's do it. Tip number 7, iterate, iterate, iterate. When it gives you an output, even if you use RAFT and guardrails and all the things we talked about with prompting, you're not going to get the best output first. Just like when you're writing, you'd probably do a draft, you'd probably get feedback, you'd revise it, you'd sleep on it, you'd come back tomorrow, you'd ask your teacher to look at it. Do the same thing with ChatGPT. This is called iteration. Don't just say, wow, the first thing it gave me sucks, this tool is stupid. No, give it feedback and say, add more of this, take more of this away. If you're using it for quizzing, you might say, now, when I get a question right, skip that one until I get all the other questions from the study guide right. Or you might say, hey, the way you drafted this piece of writing, I need you to take the language down and make it more informal and less academic, or increase the vocabulary, do it again. Give ChatGPT feedback and iterate. It's the only way you're going to get a good output and master prompting. ChatGPT tip number 8. Now that I got what I wanted from prompting it and iterating, what am I going to do with this output? Well, you're probably going to copy and paste all or parts of it. And this is a simple one, but it'll save your butt. When you paste it into your document, paste it without formatting. Unless you did a table or a chart, anything that's normal text like sentences and paragraphs, you want to paste in without formatting. ChatGPT pastes it in as white text with a black background. Teachers see this, their brain goes, you cheated, you used AI. And even if you're just pasting this in for your own notes, not an assignment, you still want to paste without formatting. On a Mac, you're going to go Command-Shift-V. If you're on PC and you're a nerd like that, you're going to go Control-Shift-V. Then you get the normal black text without any background. Tip number 9, use a custom GPT. A lot of people still didn't know that the free version, you can access custom GPTs. These do really specific tasks. If you go up in the sidebar, and you click Explore GPTs, you'll get this whole menu. Here's a screenshot. And you can search for topic, class, task, like studying versus writing versus quizzing versus chemistry versus world history. And you can find all these GPTs that people built with the paid version, but you can access on the free version. 10th and final ChatGPT tip for students. This one will save your butt. In fact, I'm going to make all of my students in class do this. Save your links so your teacher can see the entire conversation you had with ChatGPT. At the bottom of any one of the chats that you've had, you can actually get a link. When shared, anybody can go look at what you input for prompts and what ChatGPT outputted as a response. Why is this handy? Well, you used to have to cite your sources. You went to Britannica, you went to this library website, and you said, I cited it. It's in my MLA Works Cited page. Well, a lot of teachers and professors are requiring you to share any chats of conversations you used AI on your assignment. So how the heck do you do that? Well, this will save you. In fact, you're probably going to have to do that in some of your courses going into the 24-25 school year. My students will. Here's a screenshot. You click this button, you get a link. Even if your teacher doesn't make you do it, I would do this as a student to be safe. Put that in your works cited page or as a comment on your assignment when you submit it and say, this is how I used AI. Because you're learning to do things besides just write the essay for me, copy and paste done. That is not the only way to use AI. So are you one of those 8% of college students that knows how to use AI for research and financial aid? These are the kind of tips that will get you up to speed with Chat GPT so you can start using it in your classes. I can tell you this as a teacher. If you're not finding creative ways to use AI like these tips showed you, you are behind. Your peers are using them, people applying for scholarships and programs that you're trying to get into are using them, so you need to learn how to use them too. Again, first link in the description, you can find my free video showing you how to write better papers with Chat GPT that aren't cheating. And follow my channel if you guys want more tips. If you have a suggestion or a use case that you'd like to say, hey, how would a teacher, a real teacher like me, want their students to use AI? Or you run into something you're not sure how to do with AI, leave a comment below and I'll put it on my list for a future video. Thanks for watching, and I'm glad you're getting up to speed on Chat GPT.